Oh, it's very malty. Hi everybody, I'm Dean and this is the Inebriologist. I'm going to be talking about a different sort of beer today. Definitely a step down from the last review I did. As I said, it was a pretty hefty beer, a Belgian quad beer, which is coming in about 11.3%, which is pretty much paint thinner. But it's very tasty paint thinner. So today I'm going to be reviewing a British beer, which is from the Marston's Brewery, if I can show you there, which is one of their flagship beers, which is the Old Empire IPA. So yeah, this beer, it's pretty much, I think it was probably as close as to the original recipe as what was used during the British Raj, basically to take beer out to India. So that's where they kind of taken the percentage of the beer up to about 6% because the alcohol, and I think they had to chuck a lot more hops into it as well, which would have preserved it a lot longer, just so that it would keep. This is one of the many different labels that they've had on there. So they've got like the elephant on there, and then just the Marston's logo, which is the 3 barrels. I've seen about 4 or 5 different labels on these now. But I think at one point, I think they used the clear bottles instead of like these sort of dark bottles. It's probably the right decision really to go for the dark bottles, because beer just doesn't keep really well. Because if you put that on a window ledge and you forget about it, and it's quite sunny outside, as soon as you get sun rays on that, it's just going to just turn the beer bad really. So I'm kind of glad they've changed it to that. So yeah, it's a nice bottle. It's quite nice. So this beer is definitely not as strong as the last beer I reviewed. As I said, it was 11.3%, the last one. This one is 5.7. The original recipe was probably about 6.5%, but they changed it down to about 5.7. So yeah, we'll have to dive in and try. So, time to pour and have a look. Yeah, so I've used the pint glass because let's be honest, that's what this beer is all about. It's about big quantities of the stuff in a pint glass. There's a little bit left on the bottom, but as you can see from that, the colour of that, it's like a very deep sort of golden, almost like Lyle's golden syrup in a way, and very sort of like honey-esque, I suppose. Yeah, it's a very rich colour. There's quite a bit of light that does bounce off that as well. Try the smell of that. Oh, it's very malty. Quite a bit of the malts, just your basic malts. They've put in there, so I'm guessing they've probably just used sort of pale ale malts, something like Maris Otter. But yeah, there's quite a bit of carbonation as well. If you can see that, that's sort of fizzing quite a bit on there as well. But yeah, as I poured that, you can see literally there's a bit of a head on it, but there's nothing much left on there now. Looks like a nice colour. Smells nice. It's quite hoppy, but not as hoppy as what you'd get like sort of the more higher octane beers. So you've got like your double IPAs, you know, because double IPAs are going to be much stronger by British standards. It's a strongish beer. This is the point where you got the Belgian people shouting out, "Ah, 5.7 is nothing. That's absolutely nothing." Right, smelled enough of it. Now I'm going to dive in. Definitely a thirst quencher. As soon as I get with that, I can taste almost like oranges with that. It's just very sort of citrus. That's going to be coming from the hops, because there's probably quite a bit of hops that are used for that recipe. Yeah, same as on the smell. I can smell oranges. Yeah, so with the taste of that, it's It's very malt heavy. Being a British beer, it's gonna be, yeah, it is quite malt heavy, but it's very light at the same time. It doesn't feel like a heavy beer. As I change arm, my other arm was hurting. It tastes a bit of the alcohol, but nothing much really. It just kind of disappears at the back of the throat. As I said, the citrus does linger. It's right at the back of the throat as it goes down. It's definitely a summer beer. Quite a nice beer to have if you are really, really thirsty. And as far as, I suppose, as the original recipes go for a British beer, you can't go wrong with that one. That's up there. That's a pretty good beer by my standards, with Marston's. And for them to, you know, keep the traditions going as what they have been for the last about 130 years since the brewery's been open. It's one thing to mention as well, which I didn't mention from last week, is that I didn't do a scoring system or anything like that for the beer. So I think because my first video, I thought of just concentrating on the flavours rather than just doing like an overall sort of scoring system. So maybe from now on I'll probably do a scoring system. So I think if some of you out there are familiar with Untappd, which is like basically a reviewing app that you can do for your beers, check it out on their main website on untappd.com, or you can just download the app. Their scoring system is basically 0 up to 5, and 0 being the worst beer in the history of mankind. 5 is like you've been touched by God, or you've entered the pearly gates. I don't think I've ever scored a beer on 5 on Untappd, but yeah, who knows. So from the reviewing system that I've got from 0 to 5, so I'm going to give this about 3.5 out of 5. I think as time goes on you'll understand the scoring system and what I am actually scoring with that. Or if you add me as a friend on Untappd, you'll kind of know what my scoring system is, you know, or what my scoring is. So usually, you know, very, very good beers to to outstanding beers is going to be in the region of 3.5, 3.7 upwards. When it's in the 4 region, it's just like, it's the best thing ever, pretty much. And for last week's score as well, for the Trappist Rochefort 10, since it's a bit biased, but since it is one of my all-time favourite beers, I think I'd probably score that 4.5 out of 5, because it's just an incredible beer, as probably a lot of people in the world will agree with me. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this review. Plenty more where that came from, and I'm doing all this for you so you don't have to, you know. So here's to my liver. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any comments, questions or anything, please leave them down below. So cheers, thank you, and Iechyd da.